So every one of us YouTubers are trying to figure out what our target audience is. It's been shown that being able to pinpoint your niche greatly increases your chances of being seen and heard on YouTube, or maybe even going viral, and it'll help your channel grow immensely. But how do we get above the noise? Is it just pure luck, or is there something more to it? It can be so hard sometimes, especially for people like myself who consider themselves to be more on the introverted, quiet, reserved side, rather than somebody that knows how to demand and control people's attention effectively. I think for people like us, success is going to come more from like laser-focused, pinpointed precision to figure out what the exact kind of content is that we're trying to create and who we're trying to make it for and why. So today, let's talk about some ways that we can quietly become bold and stand out in our specific niches. Hey y'all, it's Ryan from Café Society. Welcome back to my channel. I'm pretty sure I've finally figured out what my niche is and who I actually want to help with the content that I create. Can you guess what type of person it is from the intro? If you stick around to the end, I'll reveal what I came up with. So some of the information in this video came from a little book that I read recently called YouTube Secrets by Sean Cannell and Benji Travis, which is a great book, by the way, if you're wanting to start a YouTube channel of your own and just have great tips on how to start it right. So in that book, they talk about a lot of things, but one of the biggest bullet points that they focus on is how it's pretty much guaranteed that your channel is going to grow if you can narrow down the target audience that you make content for and then answer specific questions that that specific group of people have. This is way easier said than done. So at first I was thinking, okay, well, I've already found a niche, so why isn't my channel growing faster? There's a few different reasons. So up until a while ago, I thought that my niche was professional millennials, probably who had a knack for video production and things like that, and maybe animation work, or who wanted to start businesses of their own. That's pretty good, but it's still a broad target audience. And there's already a bunch of really good YouTubers that are already doing that niche really well. So then, of course, I start doing the unhealthy thing and comparing myself to them. This is never a good idea, by the way. And I'd get frustrated with myself that I didn't start this sooner, wish I could present better on camera, wish I had better ideas, whatever it was. And then I would just get all depressed about it. And so I needed to find my crowd. All right, baby's crying, gotta stop. So what are some exercises that we can do to make these connections? Let's look at 3 good brainstorming tips that can help get those creative juices flowing. Okay, so the first thing, I want you to just put aside the YouTube thing for a second. Just throw that out of your brain for a moment and let's just start with what you like. We don't want any preconceived notions or anything. You can even close your eyes if you want. And I want you to imagine the last time where you were really happy and feeling really good about something that you were participating in or something that you were doing. Maybe it's something you were working on. Where were you at that time? Who were you with? What was the activity? Do you think that other people would also be interested in that same thing? If you don't think so, listen to this. There's 7.5 billion people on this planet right now. Statistics show us that 2 billion of those people are active on YouTube somehow. Yeah, that's actually a real number. So I can pretty much guarantee you with certainty, if you're interested in something, then there's probably other people out there that have that same interest. This might be the thing that you should start making videos or writing or creating content about. And if that thing that interests you doesn't have a huge audience, that's even better, because those few people who do have an interest in it will probably have an easier time finding you on YouTube and stuff, and maybe even share about it with their friends. Now, find a piece of paper or your phone notes or something, and just start free association writing down topics and things relating to that thing that interests you. Free association just means writing down things that just pop into your head. You kind of have to just clear your mind and just write without really thinking about it. And don't worry if it's like bad or good or not, because that doesn't matter right now. You're gonna process all this later. Just write whatever comes to mind and don't worry about it. If you have at least a few topics written down relating to your interest, or 10 or more, that's actually really good. Those can be ideas for videos and content that you make. And that's probably enough to get a YouTube channel going. You can do more research about specific questions and topics that people are interested in your subject later on. But for now, just start making videos based on your topics and see what happens. So that was the first exercise. Let's do another one. So Sean Cannell and the other guys over at Think Media have this Venn diagram exercise that works pretty well that you can use to narrow down your passions if you're still not sure exactly what you're into. So you create 3 circles like a Venn diagram. The top circle is labeled passion and the bottom 2 are proficiency and profit. So let's start with the passion circle. Go ahead and write down a few things that you really enjoy, and it can be anything, so don't try to get too analytical here yet. If you like eating food, if you like playing video games, like watching movies, working on cars, like whatever it is, write that down in this part. Once you've got a few passions written down, then you can move on to the proficiency circle. So this is the stuff that your friends and family and colleagues would say that you're particularly good at doing, or have a knack for, or are just really knowledgeable about. Like you could probably teach these things to other people. You may see some things that are similar to your passion circle written here, and that's okay. Then the third circle is profitability. So what you do is you look at all the stuff that you wrote down in the other 2 circles, and then decide which of the things in the other 2 circles have the potential to make money for you. So if you have any topics that hit in all 3 of the circles, then that's probably what your niche should be. Because check this out. If you are proficient and passionate about something, but it doesn't make you money, then it's just a hobby. If you're passionate about something and you're trying to make money off of it, but you're not really proficient in it, then people aren't going to trust you and people aren't going to trust that you know what you're talking about, and they'll probably go to somebody else who does. This is just going to be a fail. And if you're making money off of something that you're proficient at, but you're not passionate about it, then you're gonna burn out and it's not gonna be fun for very long. And you're gonna get bored of this thing pretty fast. So those are some interesting things to think about. All right, so let's move on to exercise number 3. The third method is gonna sound a little strange, but this tip is to write out a list of things that you don't want to do, that you know for sure you don't like, or things that you know you don't enjoy doing, and then kind of reverse engineer backwards to figure out what you should be doing. This one is kind of a little more broad if you really aren't sure what you want to do. My wife, Tori, actually came up with this method when she was deciding what she wanted to do for work after she lost her job in 2020 due to layoffs. So if you write down a list of things that you don't like, this narrows things down quite a bit, because then what you do is you just look at the opposite of what those things are, and that's going to tell you what your likes are, your interests are. You can try doing this by looking at the broad categories on YouTube and narrowing it down there. So for example, if you don't like how to and style, education, or business development, then maybe the type of channel you're going to want to do is going to live somewhere in the realm of entertainment. Like maybe you want to create sketch comedy shorts, or maybe you want to do a gaming channel. So that's all 3. I would encourage you to try out these different exercises and see what you come up with, and I'd love to hear about it in the comment section below. If you find something cool, if you discover something new about yourself, that would be cool to hear about. It took me a while to figure out what my niche was. Honestly, I feel like I had a mental block for a really long time, and I've been creating videos for Café Society and for my wife, and I do a reselling channel as well, Nifty Thrifties. And for a long time I was creating videos out of more of an obligation to get content out there rather than because I really enjoyed doing it, and really thinking about who I wanted to make these videos for, until I had an epiphany. And for me, I think even more than trying to make videos for helping professional millennials and business owners, my true passion is for helping introverted professional millennials. People like myself who usually tend to be more quiet and reserved, yet who still want to have an impact in their societies and their communities and through the work that they produce. So that's a pretty specific niche. And it was a pretty obvious connection once it happened, because I've written a lot of stuff for that target audience, like kind of subconsciously. I like to write characters who are more introverted but powerful in ways, and I write a lot of nonfiction to like help quiet, like awkward, reserved people, just try to fit in better in our very extroverted society. So it makes perfect sense that my YouTube content should also address that same people group. And I don't think there's really a lot of content creators out there that are trying to target that specific niche. So that's cool. So that's all I got for today's YouTube video. If any of these methods helped you to figure out what your niche is, then I'd love for you to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the bell icon so that you get notified when I make and drop more content like this. If you are an introverted entrepreneur or an introverted creative type person, I'd love to connect more, because we need to have a better community. I think we need to be more connected and help each other out in different ways. Also, if you're extroverted and you're watching this, like, you're totally welcome. Like, there's no problem with having extroverted people watching this. I think that information is just as pertinent to extroverts as it is to introverts. But yeah, just be aware of that. Yeah, I'm just going to be gearing my content more for the quiet, reserved folk. So if you're one of those people who identify as introverted, then my goal is to give you actionable advice on how you can navigate and traverse the treacherous, extroverted waters of our society, and how you can make your voice heard in unique ways using your strengths. All right, I'll see you guys later. Peace.